It is exactly 10 p.m. in the studios of UBC TV. Hello there and welcome to our second and final edition of News Tonight. First though, let's have a look at our top stories. In our news tonight, 15 arcades that opened without KCCA consent closed down in Kampala. Police denies holding Lumbuye but has constituted 15 cases against him. Tunisia launches vaccine open day for walk-in inoculations. And in sports, Team Uganda expected back on Tuesday to be received scientifically. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language tonight, it is Elizabeth Nakakoni and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. Kampala Capital City Authority has closed 15 arcades that reopened without the body's approval in Kampala. Now this follows the president warning on strict observance of guidelines to regulate big gatherings. We have this report.
Last month, President Museveni lifted the partial lockdown of 42 days, with the different sectors resuming operation. The president warned the Ugandans to observe the standard operating procedures to curb the spread of coronavirus.
I would like to remind you all that COVID-19 control and prevention is the responsibility of everyone. I therefore urge all Ugandans to adhere to the COVID-19 SOPs, wash hands with soap and water frequently, wear face masks, social distancing, avoid mass gatherings, avoid touching your mouth, nose and eyes.
Although many sectors resumed operations, arcades were put on hold to allow inspection and monitoring if they conform to set guidelines.
ebikola nga tebinatuukiriza bitofu byabateerwawo ti nga bamaze okuddayo ne bafuna certificate ne babagamba okufuna okukulawo so kati galawo ebintu byobulungi ono ye bannannyini kizimba bagabe batugaddeho until nga bamaze obawa certificate ekola ki ebakkiriza okuddamu okukola.
During inspection, 15 city arcades that reopened without assessment of KCCA were sealed off. Among these, Justin Arcade, Arua Park A and B, Light Arcade did not survive.
temuli nti katale ogenda mu katale era na kasero no windo zikubyeko zirimo emitwaro nga mukaaga befa abataweza n'abantu bitano mu kizimbe ntale tufulume ate nga tetubeera mu rukubo tuli mu office jomayina mu office nenga tubalisaba wamu ne ministeri y'ebyobulamu bannange mutuyambe ibizeemu kuba abantu bange bali kubi.
Along on Nassau Road, traders blamed the KCC officials for bribery, leaving many buildings in operation, yet they don't meet the standards.
Yes, our Minister of Yabulamu and KCC. But I was a Ganyizo, Murimukunamu, Kusinzira Kumbere, where our service bank will bring me Bayina. Bakatawa bizimbe bikyali biggali banaba kwete binaba kole baako naye nga ate bituukiriza ki ebisaanyizo for example ekizimbe nga kino amakubo gaakyo gonna gayingiza buki obulungi.
Ivan Juko, UBC News.
Follow set down guidelines in as far as blocking the spread of COVID-19 is concerned, or else your arcades will not be reopened. Ugandan blogger Fred Kajubi Lumbuye, who is based in Turkey, is to face 15 cases following available police investigations. However, in a weekly press briefing, police have denied being in possession of Lumbuye.
Late last week, State Minister for Foreign Affairs Okero Oryem addressed the country on the arrest of blogger Fred Kajubi Lumbuye in Turkey.
I have been following this story closely, that Lumbuye, on arrival with his other accomplices, will be received, or they already been deported and they're en route to Uganda, where they will be in Uganda probably in the early hours of tomorrow morning.
To date, the arrival of Lumbuye in Uganda is still uncertain. Police have confirmed for having opened 15 case files against the blogger, who is not yet in their custody.
That is where our boundary is, whether he's in the country or whether he's not yet in the country. For us, our interest as the police is that once he is handed over to the police, we shall process him along these 15 case files that were opened against him. So I want us to be very...
The Immigration Department also reiterated police statement on Lumbuye.
I do not have any information pertaining the arrival or entry of Lumbuye. When we get it, we shall let you know. Or when we get him, we shall let you know. But I do not have any information indicating that Lumbuye entered Uganda.
The Immigration Department also cautioned the public on the increasing forgery of travel documents.
David Kimani, who was blacklisted for repeated violation of entry procedures. He was returned but also blacklisted because he has kept on persistently attempted to dodge immigration and enter without having proper documents.
Meanwhile, in the course of last week, police recorded 78 major incidents which claimed 56 lives. 46 suspects were arrested, and among the deaths, 17 were murder and 8 mob justices.
A few, the criminals take advantage because there are no many people moving at night to rescue you. Somebody has enough time to do all what he needs. So we still call upon people to mind about their security and ensure that they are at home.
In the first week of easing lockdown, 2,067 were arrested for violating SOPs, 907 vehicles and 3,282 motorcycles were impounded. Abdul Nasir, Lubwama, UBC News.
The latest and current news in as far as Lumbuye is concerned is that he is not yet in the country. Now to matters pertaining to land, Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakova, has halted an impending eviction of over 3,000 tenants in Nachinga, Birinzi and Kasanja villages in Bukakata sub-county, Masaka district. In a letter dated 5th August 2021, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, wrote to Lands Minister raising a complaint by the area Member of Parliament, Ronald Kanyike Evans, of an impending eviction. We have more in this report.
The Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakova, has stopped an imminent eviction of over 3,000 tenants from land in the areas of Nachiga, Birinzi and Kasanje in Bokoto East, Masaka district. This follows a memo penned to her by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, following the area Member of Parliament outcry, Kanyike Ronald Evans, to the Speaker of Parliament. As the saying goes, a stitch in time saves a nine. The Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakova, rushed to Masaka to avert the pending eviction.
Ndi musungu wavunyo ku basajja bantu kuba bakyayisiza omusajja President Museveni beatenga bebamodde mabega nti fe tuli bantu bo oyo Chaimani ettaka lyali lyabwekasi ly'abantu bonna lino ettaka lyona lya gavumenti mutuyambe mutukurire omuntu owansi bino nibyo byawanguza nibyo byaremesa Museveni kufuna karuru wano Masaka.
The meeting, which was convened at Nachiga village, almost turned ugly as residents poured out their anguish before the minister.
Kati naffe ne tubuuza batutulugunya batugobaganya tulagewa tulagewa n'abaana n'abazzukulu tulagewa abamu tetukyaswana ba house girl titunagenda wali bakuwa akalimu okole
saba bakutwale bakwase president yakule nteekateeka eyaffe abafunze kati gwe naalongo tunulira omukyalo ono kuba simanyira
Flanked by the Area MP, Ronald Kanyike, the Deputy RDC Masaka District and Air Security officers, Nabakoba calmed down tempers and assured the tenants that nobody will evict them.
Kiddako nga tuva wano DPC woli n'abakulu abaddiso mbasaba ebigenda maaso ku ssaawa eno biyimirizibwe status kubanga ettaka tulirabye nga liriko enkaayana enkaayana ezo n'okwemulugunya bisooke bigonjoolwe bwe binaamala okugonjoolwa olwo ekinaaba kisaliddwawo kikomezebwewo mu batuuze oba ebinaaba biddiridde bibeere nga bibategeezebwa.
Local leaders and area land committees were accused of connivance by the residents.
Febero siwanu amataka amanene bagatunde waggulu tebagatunde wansi wazira goli bwajjako okubuuza tetaka lino liri tyango mugantu bwe yagala digula laba mukulu onalebo nabakowa oleki oguleta kanga liriki era ogwo mulimo mbadde ngukoze.
The area member of parliament tendered in the tenant's pleas on addition to what he had already forwarded to the Speaker of Parliament.
Abantu abasewasiga akazigo nti ate bazze kubalwanirira omukulu eyabadde wano ye yali chairman wa Masaka Land Board District Land Board mukulu Peter Senkungu chairman w'enaremo wa Masaka be bakola emivuyo gy'ebyapa bino byonna be bakola emivuyo egyo.
Nabakoba ordered the area police commander and other security agents to investigate the alleged frauds on the contested land.
DPC sagala kuuliza nti ate abantu kakati babagoba babasala nga ebyo reports ze twagala tezinnafulumizibwa twagala reports ezo zisooke ziveeyo tulabe oba ddala ebintu byakolwa mu butuufu nga bwe birina okukolwa ne bano okulaba nti balinako ebibanja byabwe oli ayagala okubatunda abategekedde kubatwala wa kubasenza luti kukola ki.
The minister's decision left tenants in wider jubilations. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
That's what is happening in Masaka as far as land is concerned. Now, the Joint Public Accounts Committee has queried COVID-19 relief cash distribution in Kampala. The committee met KCCA and the Ministry for Kampala Affairs and raised concerns of gross fraud in process of generating lists of the beneficiaries' 100,000 relief cash.
The Parliamentary Accounts Committee and the Local Governments Accounts Committee probing accountability of COVID-19 relief cash have grilled State Minister for Kampala, Kawiye Chofatogabye, and the Deputy Executive Director of KCCA, Engineer Rimbazi, over gross irregularities in the process of compiling lists.
When you look at Kampala Central, it has the least number of people, so implying that even the staff should have been fewer. So how did you arrive at this 20 million as the figure across the board?
Can we have a list of private teachers who they claim must have gotten the relief cash? They should also add the people who work in bars, because to add on what Honorable Opendi has just submitted, in Kampala Central, where most of the bars are, people were blocked from accessing their LCs. And this was done with the connivance of the RCC together. They are claiming with the town clerk and some ward administrators, where they could not access their LCs for registration. So we would want to know, how did they manage to get these lists? If they have them, can we please get them to guide this committee?
Committee members also tasked KCCA officials to account for 100 million shillings, which was spent on administrative expenditure by clerks of the 5 city divisions.
For administrative costs, they used the 100 million shillings, which was not even part of the budget for that money.
A chairperson LC1 registered many of his relatives, including a manager of a big business who earns over 500,000 per month. He received the money. Mr. Chair, did the ED verify?
The committee was concerned with the way the Ministry of Kampala and KCCA technical wing left the work of verifying lists to internal security organizations, ISO.
Later on, the process was removed from them and given to people who are not known. Who are these people?
I'm seeing a lot of people, PISO, VISO, GISO, DISO, all those sorts of people. Chair, what guided the team, the ED and the team, to ignore other political leaders?
We are in good working terms with the Lord Mayor and the elected leaders of Kampala Capital City Authority. I'm 1 month and 3 weeks old in office. We've already made an interaction with these leaders. We are not ministers of office in the in the presidential office, but we are ministers on ground. We walked to his office. He has not walked to us.
State Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs, Kabuye Chofa Togabye, admitted the process was affected by double registration of beneficiaries. The committee will go up country to investigate accountability on disposal of the shillings 53 billion. Gloria Gwitabinji, Helen Barbara, reporting for UBC TV News at Parliament.
Disbursement of the 100,000 COVID-19 relief funds still being queried there. To the High Court now, where High Court has issued a temporary injunction stopping government from paying Dodoviko Mwanje over 300 billion shillings money meant for buying St. Peter's Church of Uganda land in Ndeba. Principal Judge Dr. Flavian Jeiza, based on the prayers by lawyers representing St. Peter's and the pending suit in High Court to determine on who is the owner of the land in question. Deborah Namamonde reports.
St. Peter's Church of Uganda devotees and alleged owner, also wife to the late Bishop Dunstan in Subuga, Lucy in Subuga, filed a suit in High Court Civil Division, challenging the payment to the claimant of the land, Dodoviko Mwanje. In the suit filed before the Principal Judge, Dr. Flaviana Jeiza, asked court to hold payment until the decision on the official landlord of the land is made. In High Court Civil Division before the Principal Judge, Dr. Flaviana Jeiza, after perusing both sides' submissions, granted the application. Following this ruling, the government is halted from paying Dodoviko Mwanje until High Court Civil Division pronounces itself in the main suit.
Yes. So now that that we are not opposing the application, so let me grant it. I'm granting the application, and then we shall then set other.
On 11th May 2021, the government planned to pay over 300 billion to Dodoviko Mwanje, the alleged owner of the said St. Peter Church of Uganda land on Block 7, Plot 39 at Mengo.
Because once the money is paid, actually the issue of ownership will be settled once the money is paid. But we are not aware if that money is paid, does the church retain the land? Does the land become land for the government and the church becomes maybe someone who uses the land or squatters? All those issues are not yet addressed.
Council Jamiru Mpima Sennoga represented St. Peter's Church of Uganda devotees.
Next, we are going to get a hearing date for miscellaneous application 1115 of 2020. We are going to get a hearing date, then we are going to hear it after court has passed the ruling. If the ruling is in our favor, it will effectively cancel the judgment. It will effectively cancel the judgment that transferred the land from the church to other people.
Dodoviko Mwanje, the respondent in this matter, was represented by Council James Nangwara. Talking to Dodoviko Mwanje after court, he was also happy with court's ruling as he waits for High Court's decision on who is the official owner of the land.
Ekisaliddwawo olwaleero mu kkooti nkisanyukidde nnyo kubanga kyembadde njagaliza embazzi kibuyaga nsuulidde. Njagala kukolawo byange ng'omuntu, nina investment zange ze njagala okukolerawo era ebyo byenteeseteese ne pulaani zange nazifuna, ekyo kye nnindiridde okukola. Bano bakyereeta abeewaŋŋamya ku ttaka lyange sibamanyi.
On 10th August 2020, St. Peter's Church of Uganda Ndeba was demolished following Justice John Kelly Tilima's judgment after awarding Dodoviko Mwanje as the owner. Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
Parents have been urged to embrace registration and certification of children upon birth. Executive Director, National Information Registration Authority, Rosemary Kisembo, says this helps government to render effective services to citizens. Now, the call comes at a time Uganda joins the rest of Africa to celebrate Africa Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day. Here is UBC's Henry Okrot.
Information at National Information Registration Authority shows that at least 1.2 million children are born every year. This underscores the need for parents to register young ones who are born.
I will say that there are 3 vital steps. 1, notify us. The law provides for notifying. What is notifying? Within a certain specified time in the law, you tell us, I have a child, I gave birth at a facility, or I gave birth at home. If you gave birth in a medical facility, we have a very strong ties and partnership with the Ministry of Health. They'll probably notify us of the birth that has occurred.
This is, however, challenged by cultural practices among some communities.
In a lot of African tradition, the name is not given immediately. That makes it a challenge for us to register the child. If we cannot identify the parents of a child as Ugandans, even identifying the child as a Ugandan becomes a challenge.
When such shortcomings are overcome, a call for celebration is inevitable. This is why Uganda is joining the rest of the world to celebrate Africa Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day.
The theme is Leadership for an Essential Service, building resilient civil registration and vital statistics systems in Africa that provide innovative, integrated and decentralized service for the post-COVID-19 period. So my message is simple. If you remember nothing else I have said, we're saying notify, register, certify.
In 2017, the Africa Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day was gazetted in Mauritania to celebrate the birth of the African child. It is annually celebrated on the 10th of August. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Thanks, Henry, for that report there. And of course, the message there, once your child is born, to try to register and certify them. We're now going to take a very short break, but News Tonight continues. Stay with us.
Today in history.
At the 1936 Berlin Olympics, African-American Jesse Owens wins his 4th gold medal of the Games in the 4x100-meter relay. Jesse Owens and other African-American athletes struck a propaganda blow against Nazi leader Adolf Hitler, who planned to use the Berlin Games as a showcase of supposed Aryan superiority. In the end, 49 nations sent some 4,000 athletes to the Summer Olympics in Berlin.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Central Points when you deposit, send and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Echa COVID-19 kijja kuggwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Dear customer, be alert. Do not share your Airtel Money PIN or your OTP, also known as your one-time password. Airtel Uganda or our employees will never ask for your PIN or OTP. Always keep your PIN or OTP details confidential, even when you receive a call, SMS, or email. The only official Airtel number for calling customers during a promotion is 0752 600 222.
Stay alert on Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that short break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. We are glad that you've made this TV your channel of choice. Moving on, Uganda Human Rights Commission is worried over non-compliance of the population on standard operating procedures. Now, a few days after partial easing of the lockdown, the population has neglected SOPs, yet they are in crowded areas of downtown Kampala. The Commission is urging citizens to be vigilant by policing one another to wear a face mask whenever they are in public places. Dr. Patricia Ochan-Okiria was issuing a statement on emerging human rights issues following the easing of the 42-day partial lockdown. Take a watch.
We have seen a number of cases coming up because Ugandans do not appreciate their duties and responsibilities, knowing that human rights go hand in hand with responsibilities, go hand in hand with duties as well. If Ugandans took on their responsibilities, they would know that once there is a lockdown, we are supposed to follow these guidelines.
Received or registered 40 complaints of alleged human rights violations. And the biggest number of these complaints, which was 20, was from the Commission's Central Regional Office, which is located in Naguru. And the complaints mostly involved allegations of torture, allegations of detention beyond 48 hours, and allegations of deprivation of the right to life.
To the courts of law now, where High Court Civil Division has awarded 75 million to Mityana Municipality Member of Parliament Francis Zaake in the case he filed against the Attorney General following torture inflicted on him during and after arrest. The judge, Esther Nambayo, perused evidence produced by Honorable Zaake from hospital and video clips confirming the torture during arrest. On 19th April 2020, Zaake was arrested from his home on charges of spreading the infectious disease of COVID-19 by serving COVID-19 relief to voters.
The Mityana Municipality Legislator Francis Zaake Butebi sued the Attorney General and 8 police officers following torture inflicted on him when he was picked from his residence in Mityana Municipality on 19th April 2020. Zaake was accused of violating COVID-19 SOPs when distributing food to voters. The sued police officers include Wamala Regional Police Commander Bob Kagalula, Mityana District Police Commander Alex Muine, Eri Wamanya, the Commandant of the Police's Special Investigation Unit, Amdan Tumwesije, and Aluna Mlungi Nsamba seeking to be compensated. High Court Judge Esther Nambayo granted Francis Zaake's application and awarded him 75 million. She based on the medical report form from Africa Center for Treatment and Rehabilitation of Torture Victims, and video clips attended in court. However, court declined to compel the 8 police officers liable for the torture.
court sort of winked at the officers who did it, but I think they shouldn't mistake it for weakness. Next time they repeat this action, they will be held individually liable, like in some cases. So we welcome the condemnation.
Aaron Chiza was counsel to Zaake.
Government disagree with the judge and appeal his hard decision. We shall not only defend the decision that she made that we agree with, but we shall also cross-appeal on some of the points which we think would have been handled better.
Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
Now, the Office of the Prime Minister has delivered support to families whose gardens were destroyed by wild animals and those whose homes were destroyed by fire in Karenga. Over 2,000 vulnerable families will be supported, as we hear in this report.
The Minister for Ethics and Integrity, Akil Roslyn, who also doubles as Karenga District Woman Member of Parliament, has visited Kapedo Sub-County, where fire destroyed homes.
These items, as the chairman has alluded to, are going to be given to, one, the families which houses got gutted by fire, and two, the families who are most vulnerable.
2 weeks ago, over 50 homes in Nabutela village, Kapedo Sub-County in Karenga District, caught fire, leaving over 300 people stranded. Maize gardens were also cleared by problem animals.
The incidents came unknowingly when we didn't know what was the cause of fire. But now, the fire started burning houses one by one.
Then mabega twafuna obuzibu obw'ebisolo byaffe ebiri mu National Park okuli emmere y'abantu.
The Karenga Chief Administrative Officer and the Head of District Disaster Management says government has supported the victims.
Abantu abatuukibwako obuzibu era nga tusubira nti amaka 305 agaidde okufuna obuyambi buno. Sukaali tuli kumutambuliza irala kubataaniza 5 sukaali mungi tusuubira abantu nga 2,000 okufuna sukaali nga buli muntu ali kufuna nga maka gali kufuna nga kiro 2. So tuteeka okwebaza President waffe, twebaza central government.
Some of the beneficiaries appreciated government for the timely response.
We are very happy for the government to assist these people, for them also to come back to their homestead.
Dodot West Member of Parliament, Batomu Benkolyang, says OWA has defied the presidential order to fence off the park from the community land.
The problem animals in Karenga district are a big problem. Every night there is destruction of crops. And yet these are crops that were about to mature and people start. It doesn't matter, the animals can go anywhere they want. And yet this is creating a lot of human-wildlife conflict.
Karenga district has been the food hub for the region, although animals disturb farmers.
Dorcas Kimono reporting there. Now, Kikuube District Woman Member of Parliament, Florence Natmanya, has donated 5 new small community ambulances to 5 sub-county hospitals in Kikuube District. The ambulances will support patients during the current COVID-19 times.
While unveiling small community ambulances for 5 sub-counties, Kikuube District Woman Member of Parliament, Florence Natumanya, noted that there are transport challenges for referring COVID-19 patients.
I said the first thing I'm going to do is to help them with easing transport to health centers. So today I have been giving away emergency cars for every sub-county. We have 5 sub-counties.
Kikuube District Acting Health Officer Dr. Gerald Asaba cited shortage of ambulances to handle emergencies. Sub-county health facilities receive many referrals that need nurses to escort patients like expectant mothers, but this is not possible as patients opt to to using motorcycles due to lack of ambulances.
2 town councils and 3 sub-counties. There is 1 ambulance which is located at the health center 4. That ambulance is now supposed to run throughout the entire district. It doesn't only serve the health center 4. It serves all the sub-counties, which keeps it very, very busy.
The local leaders and residents appreciated the intervention.
Now to the vaccination against COVID-19. The interval between the first jab of COVID-19 vaccine and the second raises questions among the public, especially the consequences of the delayed jab. Now, some people who received the first jab have no hopes of getting another one, and there is a class of people who fear to get a second jab. Our reporter Nasiru Buama Abdul explores with experts whether a delay in taking the second COVID vaccine jab has implications on the body's immunity.
The conspiracies associated with the COVID-19 vaccination exercise among the public warrants clear guidance from the expert, especially the side effect of the vaccine. In March 2021, Uganda rolled out the COVID-19 vaccination exercise, targeting 49.6% of the population, which is 21,936,011, starting with the most vulnerable class of people. However, the flow of the vaccines in Uganda depends on the donor's convenience, which is undependable to meet the target.
The legal requirements between Uganda, the COVAX facility and the African Union have been concluded. An order of 9 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine has been placed with the COVAX facility. We await feedback on its availability.
Health officials lament the delay in procuring vaccines and pay it on the forces of demand and supply for poor countries like Uganda have been priced out of the market by rich buyers in the West.
The COVID-19 mass vaccination program has been slowed down by the global shortage of vaccines on the market, where the global demand outweighs the production. Much of what is produced is taken away by the rich countries that had paid prior during the research and development process. As such, most African countries are unable to access adequate vaccines in spite of availability of funds.
Some people who got the first jab of COVID-19 vaccine are pessimistic about the second jab due to the determinant factors of demand and supply. This has brought many conspiracy theories on the interval between the first jab and the second, as some comments the long-time interval for boosting immunity.
Delaying isn't as bad as people think. As we are getting more data, it's still very useful to have your second dose. Literally now, stretches to about 40 weeks, which is very useful.
From the start, the World Health Organization recommended 8-12 weeks interval between the first and the second jab. However, recently, the University of Oxford in the United Kingdom provided another reassurance that a second dose of the vaccine remains highly effective, even after a gap of up to 45 weeks.
Actually, it turns out that the longer you wait to get your second dose, people have gone up to, I've looked at studies that's shown up to 40 weeks of your first dose. Your immune response seems to be very good when you get your second dose.
The COVAX facility committed a donation of 3,552,000 doses to Uganda between the months of January to June 2021 to facilitate the vaccination exercise. So far, Uganda has received donations from different channels. On 5th March 2021, Uganda received the first donation of 864,000 doses of AstraZeneca via COVAX. On 16th June 2021, another batch of 175,200 doses of AstraZeneca from France through COVAX facility was received by the Minister of Health. On 31st July 2021, more 286,080 doses of AstraZeneca from the government of Norway were received, again through COVAX facility, and the recent one came on 31st July 2021 of 300,000 doses of Sinovac, a donation from China. The Ugandan 10th Parliament in February 2021 approved 18.5 billion shillings as a supplementary to procure 18 million doses of vaccines as an immediate response to vaccinate vulnerable Ugandans. In the current financial year 2021-2022, 560 billion shillings was allocated to procure COVID-19 vaccines. Up to date, Uganda's attempt to procure COVID-19 vaccine has never materialized, even for a single vaccine. Abdul Nasir Lubwama, UBC News.
Uganda, today is a great day to work towards your dreams. Dial *185*7# and select savings to save as low as 500 Ugandan shillings on regular savings or 250,000 Ugandan shillings for fixed deposits. Airtel Money Super Saver is powered by KCB Bank Uganda. Airtel Money, instant, secure, borderless. T's and C's apply.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field couldn't be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
It's coming to 43 minutes after 10 in the studios of UBC TV, and this is News Tonight. Let's have a look now at what's happening in the world of business, and the new developments in Uganda's marine subsector will spur trade and commerce within and across the borders, and that is according to Benon Mujuni, the Director of Transport at the Ministry of Works and Transport. He, however, underscores the need for increased public and private sector support to boost sector growth. Now, vessels operating on the inland waterways are currently estimated at 21,000, with the largest being the roll-on-roll of ferries operated by Uganda Railways Corporation. Dennis Sigoa gives us more.
Marine transport is one of the most important modes of transport and shipping used worldwide. This mode of transport is still the cheapest and environmentally friendly means of transportation of bulk cargo. Uganda, a landlocked country, has been utilizing inland water transport from time immemorial. Lakes such as Victoria, Kyoga, George and Lake Bunyonyi are some of the navigable waterways in the country. Among the many lakes in the country, Lake Victoria is the main link on the transport corridors to the seaports of Mombasa in Kenya and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
We have a plan for water transport. One, Port Bell is going to remain for tourism, for passenger, and for local cargo. The government of Uganda is constructing a big port at Bukasa. This port, we are constructing it in 3 phases, and that port is going to handle all the international cargo.
According to Benon Mujuni, the Director of Transport at the Ministry of Works and Transport, government has prioritized the enhancement of marine transport. Through the construction of the new Bokassa port, the rehabilitation of grounded ships, reviewing and development of the new legal framework, among others, Uganda's marine subsector is expected to grow exponentially in the coming years.
You know, water transport is the cheapest, but in some cases it may not be safe. So we are developing a legal framework, the Inland Water Transport Bill or the Inland Water Transport Act, which has already been approved by Parliament. Now, this one will make sure that water transport in Uganda remains safe.
So clearly you can see there's a convergence. The East African states, the partner states, are coming together to create facilities for trade within the region and also transit cargo. A lot of connectivity will be created and a lot of convergence and synergy.
The key benefits of maritime transport to Ugandan economy include transportation, promotion of tourism, facilitation of trade and commerce, employment and institutional development. Dennis Igoa for UBC Business.
International news now, and the Ahmadiyya Muslim community has concluded its 55th annual convention Jalsa Salana in London, the United Kingdom. The convention was attended by over 30,000 Muslims of Ahmadiyya community worldwide with the aim of strengthening man with Allah and to bring the community together in a spirit of brotherhood. His Holiness Masrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, who closed the event, in his remarks urged the delegates to put what they have learned into practice. The event was also attended by Katrina Sweat, the President, Lantos Foundation for Human Rights, Justice and former chair of US, the Commission on International Religious Freedom, Right Honorable Jeremy Hunt, Bishop Angelos Obey and General Bishop Coptic Orthodox Church.
To honor the Quran will be honored in heaven.
Allah ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Allah ilaha.
To Mexico now, where the Mexican government has sued some of the biggest U.S. gun manufacturers, accusing them of fueling bloodshed through reckless business practices. The lawsuit alleges that the companies knew they were contributing to illegal arms trafficking, which has been linked to many deaths. Officials say Mexico is seeking as much as $10 billion in compensation, though any amount would be decided by the court.
70% of weapons trafficked to Mexico come from the US and are linked to 15,000 or more murders a year. While Mexico permits its citizens to legally own firearms, the process for obtaining one is long and arduous. Concealed carry permits are almost impossible to obtain, and the only gun store in the entire country is run by the Mexican military. However, the Mexican government has a tough case to build, according to José Francisco de Villa, a Mexican lawyer who has studied the issue.
As the litigant, Mexico has the burden of proof, and it will not be enough to cite government statistics or journalistic reports. Scientific proof for each of their arguments, which is very difficult to obtain, will be vital. Without those, Mexico will not have a case.
The US National Shooting Sports Foundation, an industry trade association, responded, calling the allegations baseless and stating that the Mexican government is responsible for the rampant crime and corruption within their own borders.
To Italy now, where the Italian government has made COVID Green Pass mandatory for public venue access as it works to curb infections. Now, the Green Pass will be compulsory to enter any restaurants or other closed spaces, including gyms, cinemas, theaters, and long-distance travel will all require proof of vaccination or a negative test.
Before, Gyms are one of many businesses where the government-issued pass is now compulsory. It's obtained after the first dose of vaccination within 6 months of recovery or 48 hours of a negative test.
We really hope that the Green Pass can help prevent further restrictions and closures. We lost 75% of our clients since the beginning of the pandemic.
The pass is also necessary for diners who want to eat indoors. Sergio Natali is at the helm of one of Rome's most famous pizzerias and says law enforcement shouldn't be his job.
It's right to have the personal responsibility of a green pass, and public officials could come to the restaurant to check, but the responsibility of the clients shouldn't rest with me.
Other public places where the Green Pass will be required include museums, cinemas and stadiums.
Sports news now, and Uganda's leader of delegation at the just ended Tokyo 2020 Olympics, Honorable Hamson Oboa, has highlighted return plans for the team that garnered 4 medals. Uganda finished 36th overall and second in Africa after an outing that collected 2 gold medals, a silver and bronze medal. Take a watch.
Into the country and will touch down at Entebbe International Airport on Tuesday, 10 August 2021, aboard Emirates. Upon arrival in Entebbe, the team or the contingent or Team Uganda will have a scientific procession restricted only to the arriving team members from Entebbe through to Kampala. This particular procession will be purely scientific and only limited to the team arriving. To the people of Uganda wishing to welcome home the triumphant team members, you can line along Entebbe Kampala Road. We kindly request of you to put on your mask, maintain social distance, and be able to receive the medalists who will be in their respective cars waving to you who gave them the enormous support. Then on Wednesday, 11 August 2021, Team Uganda for the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games will be hosted to a state reception on the invitation of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, together with Mama, the First Lady, and the Minister of Education and Sports, at exactly midday at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds.
Minister of State for Sports Hamson Oboa ending that report there, and of course many Ugandans eagerly awaiting that triumphal return of those gallant sons and daughter of Uganda. Now, the semi-final draw for the 2020-2021 Uganda Cup have been made at Federation of Uganda Football Association's head offices in Mengo. 4 teams remained in the tournament that was stopped due to COVID-19. In the semi-final that will be on home and away basis, Police FC hosts Vipers first, while Express FC will travel to Jinja to face Bull FC in the first leg. These semi-final games will be played between 19th and 31st of August, with all the action live on UBC TV. Now, it should be noted that these teams are playing for pride because Federation of Uganda Football Associations already decided that Uganda Revenue Authority will represent Uganda in the CAF Confederations Cup. This decision they took was principally to meet CAF deadline for registration of teams for continental duties. Yet at that time, COVID-19 was still prevalent with no end in sight. The Federation has also confirmed that the final originally meant for Masindi may be moved since the reopening didn't allow fans.
Competition, Fred Tamale will be responsible. Thank you.
And that is what we had in our sports segment. But now let's have a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow with Kenyana Molen at the Weather Center in Entebbe.
Yes, a very good evening to you. Well, I'm here to take you through the weather report tonight. My name is Molen Kenyana, and we shall remember that this is courtesy of Uganda National Meteorological Authority. Well, good news this evening. We did have rains across most areas within the country, especially the southern sector. We saw those showers across parts of Mubende, Mitiana, also to western Uganda, Chegwegwa, Chenjojo. We did see those rains, even for central, across parts of Nakasongola. Now, that was all due to the rainy system that is now confined a little bit to the southern sector due to the weaknesses in high pressure systems that normally affect our weather. Those are to the southern part of our continent. Well, at the same time, we did see those southeasterly moist winds coming in towards the country. Those also brought us rains, especially across Mount Elgon Highlands. Those were most especially within the morning and also throughout last night. According to the totals we had last night, we had Kampala also reporting a total of 26.1 millimeters. Now let's look ahead into our forecast for tomorrow. Well, in the morning, we will start off with those showers again across most areas within the country. Now we are likely to have sunny intervals still across central Lake Victoria Basin, parts of western Uganda, as well as the southwestern part of the country. That is where we have Kabale Highlands. But later in the afternoon, we are forecasting rainy conditions. Those will be across most parts within the country. Well, our daytime highs, we're forecasting a maximum of 27. That will be across the nation's capital, Kampala. Now, across the Karamoja region, we're expecting temperatures to rise up to 29. Quite a warm day over there. Also for southwestern Uganda, we're likely to have temperatures rising up to 24 degrees centigrade. We'll also take you through a few cities that we have for you across the world where we are forecasting sunny intervals. Those will be across Mombasa as well as London. We have mist in the forecast for Dubai, but very hot weather. Temperatures will go up to 45 degrees centigrade. We're also forecasting rains, and that will be across New York as well as Paris. Well, with that, we come to the end of tonight's weather report. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Molen Kenyana, wishing you a good night.
And as you've just watched, and if probably haven't been with us, tomorrow morning we expect some rain in most parts of the country, but later on in the afternoon it will be wet all over the country, so you should get yourself prepared because Kenyana Molen has already warned us that it will be a wet day tomorrow. And now, before we leave you, let's have a recap of our top stories. In our top stories, 15 arcades that opened without KCCA consent closed down in Kampala. Police denies holding Lumbuye but has constituted 15 cases against him. Tunisia launches vaccine open day for walk-in inoculations. And in sports, Team Uganda expected back on Tuesday to be received scientifically. A minute to the hour of 11, and we've finally come to the end of the second edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV. Thank you so much for having kept us company. On sign language, it has been Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field couldn't be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Beyond Beauty Parlor and Spa, your beautification destination. We believe in suitable beauty. We offer pedicure and manicure, makeup, hairstyling, plating, weaving, dreadlocks, massage, waxing, facial and body scrub, name it. We also offer additional services like honeymoon packages, hiring venues and vehicles for brides and grooms, training interns from different beauty schools. We are located on Uganda House, ground floor 5. Call to book for your appointment on 0702 645